Okay, everybody, here we are, and here I am, Waifu Collector, here to talk about Project L for some reason, and that reason is that there has been an alleged roster leak. So we're gonna go over the roster. I'll tell you what I think of it and what I think about this whole supposed leak altogether. So, let's get into it. Now, first off, this supposed leak isn't a leak at all. This information comes from a survey that Riot Games is conducting with some players. The survey gives a list of about 20-something champions and asks players about their feelings regarding those champions and if they'd like to see them in games outside of League of Legends. Cool. So why is this a Project L leak? Well, people think it's for Project L because 6 of the 23 characters on the survey are already confirmed to be in Project L. So some people have assumed that the remaining 17 champions in the survey are the rest of the Project L roster. So yeah, we're kinda taking some big leaps here, I think. I will go over who's on the roster in a second, but real quick, I don't think this should be taken as the de facto roster. This should be taken with not a grain of salt, but a heap of salt. Just an absolute mountain of doubt. That's just what I think. Yes, some confirmed Project L characters are on the survey, but why would they ask us about characters that they've already said are in the game? They aren't gonna remove them, they've already confirmed them. And maybe you think it's because, oh, they're trying to throw us off the scent, they're trying to trick us. Okay, cool. But then why would I send a list of our completely decided and finalized roster out to players to see if they like it if it wasn't subject to change? What do people think surveys are for? They aren't trying to gather this information to just ignore it completely and not change a thing based on the results. So I highly doubt that this little survey roster will appear just as listed at the launch of the game. What's more likely is that these are characters being considered for the game and Riot wants a more clear idea about their possible reception. What usually happens with these fighting game rosters is a mix of what the devs want to do personally, what the fans want, and what the devs feel is needed. So there are probably characters not on this survey that the dev team has already decided are going in the game. Or there's always the possibility that this just has nothing to do with Project L. Riot Forge, I'm sure, plans to continue to churn out League of Legends offshoots, and this survey could just be them saying who they maybe should or shouldn't include in one of those spin-offs. And maybe Project L characters are on there out of fear of oversaturating those characters. Or maybe they want to see if the popularity of certain characters has grown further as a result of being announced for Project L or appearing in something like Ruined King. Ahri, Illaoi, Yasuo, Braum, Thresh all appeared in Ruined King and are in the survey. What I'm saying is I would be very surprised if this was so cut and dry that these 23 survey champions turned out to be the ones we are able to choose from at the launch of this game. It's not completely impossible, but it just seems unlikely if you ask me. But now let's actually go over the champions in the survey. First, we have the confirmed characters: Jinx, Echo, Darius, Ahri, Illaoi, and Katarina, who was very briefly shown in a really early looking build of the game. For all we know, they could have scrapped her, but probably not. Anyway, the other 17 unconfirmed characters are Akali, Braum, Blitzcrank, Ezreal, Karma, Kindred, Lux, Rengar, Riven, Senna, Set, Thresh, Vi, Yasuo, Teemo, Samira, and Zed. If we just forget everything I said before this for a second and pretend that this is the launch roster, I'd say that this is a pretty good roster. I'd say that just from a visual standpoint, the roster would look really intriguing to newcomers who have never played League, and I think anyone could find multiple characters within this roster who just stand out as someone they want to be in control of, you know? If you like to be a bigger, more imposing character, you might gravitate towards Braum or Blitzcrank. If you like a more traditionally cool looking character, character, you might want to go for Yasuo, Zed, or Akali. You like something that gives off a cuter, more innocent energy, Ezreal, Lux, Teemo, you know? I just think it's a visually well-balanced roster with something for everyone. But with the like 140 champs or whatever that League has, that balance can be achieved in a lot of ways. And if you do play League and are more familiar with these champions, I still think it has basically all the hallmark popular champs that will get your typical leaguers in the door. Not to mention the arcane fans who would just show up off of the strength of Jinx, Echo, and Vi alone. Now, I'm not going to speculate on the gameplay of this whole roster because I think that would be ridiculous and we'd be here for entirely too long, but I'll just say something that kind of stand out to me. I do kind of find Karma, Senna, and Teemo really interesting. I can't help but picture and wonder about how they would play exactly. Like, would Teemo be a very assist-based character? Is that the most effective way to incorporate his little annoying mushrooms by like having him throw them in from off screen when he's tagged out or something like that? Like, he'd obviously probably be able to throw them when he's tagged in as well, but is it such an amazing assist ability that it behooves you more to rely on him being tagged in as little as possible? But also looking at Senna, maybe when she's tagged in, her gun just has a standard damaging effect, but tagged out, she can shoot her teammate to restore a bit of health or something, you know? I don't know, man. I'm also thinking about Karma. I feel like maybe there's probably a lot of zoning and projectiles and a short attack nullification or some way to, you know, back you off or defend yourself for when someone manages to get in close. I have no idea. I'm just making shit up here. And do you incorporate Karma's tether thing? And if so, how the hell do you do that? Maybe she tethers the on-screen enemy to the off-screen enemy so you're kind of always getting pulled away from her. You know, that would really help with zoning. You know, I think I just came up with something nice right there. I don't know, but you know, outside of that, she seems like her visual effects would be pretty cool to look at too, so I just think she's kind of an interesting pick. But whatever, like I said, I think this is a good roster even if I don't think that it is the roster, and who knows, maybe it is. I don't think it is, but this is not something I'm super keen on being right about because, I'll say it again, this is a good roster. But if I am right and this isn't the roster, that's cool too, because there are some characters that I wish were here and some that I kind of don't really care about that much, so I really don't give a shit. It's a win-win for me. But yeah, tell me what you think. Do you think this is the confirmed roster? Do you think it isn't? Who are you most interested in on this roster, and who would you like to see that is missing from it? I really would like to know, but you know, until next time, I am Waifu Belector. I am just a normal guy. I like hentai, and I can't wait till we get the official title and we can stop calling this thing Project L. Goodbye.